Swipe Up, episode 233, the podcast where I share my unfiltered thoughts on the latest news and entertainment updates. I'm your host, Ray Taylor. Banning TikTok is unconstitutional, ludicrous, and a national embarrassment. The Restrict Act is a proposed legislation aimed at banning apps or services that pose a threat, quote-unquote threat, to U.S. national security, with Senators Mark Warner and John Thune as the lead authors. Of course, this bill has bipartisan support, so there are people on both sides that are fine with what this being, in many ways, is the Patriot Act on steroids, right? When 9/11 happened and George Bush lied about weapons of mass destruction in order to start never-ending wars so all of his buddies, like the vice president, could get rich from their company Halliburton rebuilding all of the cities that were bombed by the companies that we gave military contracts to, right? All of these things happen waiting for a devastating terrorist attack like 9/11 in order to take advantage of the moment to strip Americans from their rights in order to allow the government to spy on Americans, right, is what the Patriot Act does. This takes that even a step further, allowing them to, without any kind of oversight, control, monitor, and censor anything they deem to be a threat to national security without any proof, without any kind of public oversight. It is somebody who is not elected to the position who can make these decisions, along with the president is. The president has to sign off on it, but the person who's in charge of this committee, they have to all they have to do is label something as a threat, and they can take charge and shut it down, do whatever they want, right? And that has everything, every piece of technology you own that connects to the internet, your phones, your laptops, your home devices, all of the software that you use. For me, going to art events and being able to accept credit cards as payment, that can be shut down. Those services can be shut down. PayPal, all of those services that allow for small businesses to actually exist in this country with websites and being able to process payments, all of those things can shut down. If the government wants to eliminate small business and force people to go back and work for major corporations, they can literally do so overnight if they want. And as the public, we would have no say in that, and we would have no course as to even see why. They wouldn't even have to explain why they do anything. They can just do it because they say, which is just absolutely insane. And it's so insane that you're seeing people on both sides. You're seeing Republicans like Rand Paul or like propaganda pushers like Tucker Carlson, actually speaking up against this, which is insane, which only makes me think that these people are afraid that they're going to be found out, whatever dealings they're having, because this is just a massive open door for the government, whoever's in charge. Like, I don't care. Like, I don't want it happening, and I voted for Biden. It would be exponentially worse if somebody like DeSantis or Trump became president, the two top fascists in the country, seeing what they're doing in Florida, making everything illegal, making people who are called a racist. If you are called a racist in Florida, online or in person, that racist can then sue the person that called them a racist for like $20,000 to $30,000, and they don't even have to be in Florida, right? The laws that are being passed in Florida are insane, not to mention the book bans, not to mention the Don't Say Gay bills. Like, they're making it as toxic as possible for people to live. And if that guy or the guy being indicted right now in New York became president again, which is definitely possible considering how much they are trying to rig elections in this country, if they had that ability, any kind of dissent anybody would have could easily be thrown in prison. And the punishments for these things in the Restrict Act, like if they ban TikTok and you decide to use a VPN to then access TikTok, or use a VPN at all to access anything, you could then face jail time. You could face like up to $1 million fine. Like, it is strict punishments if you try to go around any kind of ban they may have on any type of technology you may own. It would lock this country down no different than like North Korea. It's insane. So the proposed legislation language is insanely broad, and which so many of these laws that are being passed are insanely broad. That way they can use them to do a lot of different things, right? If a contract is being written and it's not absolutely specific about terms, then you know that is done for a purpose. It is done so it can be used as a wild card in order to silence anything they want. And its critics worry that it may have more profound implications on the First Amendment than intended. The bill targets information and communications technology, which in the rest of this they refer to as ICT, information and communication technology. Products that have any link to foreign adversaries such as China, Cuba, Iran, North Korea, Russia, or Venezuela, but they can redefine that in any way they want. But they have no course. There's no way. They never have to prove that it does. They can just say that it does. So apps and any other kind of online connected services with connections to certain foreign countries could be banned in the U.S. under this act, including those with more than 1 million users in the U.S., which anything involving the internet, any kind of app or service involving the internet, is easily going to have 1 million users, right? So that's almost anything, right? They can shut down Etsy if they want. They can shut down PayPal if they want. They can shut down Square. They can shut down Squarespace. They can shut down TikTok, Instagram, Meta. Of course they're not, because a lot of these politicians that are voting for the Restrict Act are invested in Meta, hoping that when they are able to ban TikTok, that it will only increase the worth of the stocks that they own in Meta, because, of course, we allow our politicians to invest in companies and profit off of the laws that they make. The bill's language includes vague terms such as desktop applications, mobile applications, gaming applications. If you stream on Twitch, if you get video games through Steam, guess what? That could easily be shut down. Payment applications like Square, right? Like Venmo. Web-based applications, ChatGPT. I mean, any what do you go? Google, anything, YouTube, anything you go online. What is a web-based application? It's like a website. I mean, they could easily define any website as a web-based application. VPNs that consumers use to encrypt and route their traffic could be impacted by this bill as well, according to one expert. The Restrict Act could give a considerable amount of power to the executive branch, which is unsettling in any context, according to Stanford Internet Observatory researcher. The bill may have, and that's terrifying, even if you voted for Biden. Because, as we've seen in this country, first off, Biden is one of the more conservative Democrats in politics. But also, the pendulum swings back and forth, and it's only a matter of time before one of these fascists gets in office. And this is exactly what they would want. This would be the most used thing. If you want full-on fascism, here you go. This is the exact tool they would want. The bill may have a chilling effect on free speech and expression, obviously, particularly for journalists, activists, and human rights defenders who rely on VPNs to protect their online activities from surveillance and censorship. Rachel Cohen, communications director for the Senate, Warner says for Senator Warner says the legislation is aimed at companies like Kaspersky, Huawei, and TikTok, and not at individual users. Which they can say whatever they want. They do say whatever they want. And they're trying to make China be the boogeyman. So, of course, they list all of the different Chinese companies, which TikTok is owned by ByteDance. But that doesn't mean they won't. That doesn't mean like the Young Turks won't get shut down if, especially like a Republican president. You think any kind of left-leaning news broadcast is going to survive, especially independent journalism on any level? You think if the police kill another black person on camera during a pandemic, you think that anybody would even see the protests taking place? Of course not. The bill introduction suggests a comprehensive risk-based approach to proactively tackling potential dangerous technologies before they gain foothold in America, so the U.S. is not scrambling to catch up. When they're already ubiquitous, which it's already too late. I mean, we saw Facebook, right, spread misinformation, push right-wing narratives. Like that, it's already these companies already exist. It's already too late to stop that, right? This would only allow people to highlight whatever misinformation they want to push. And again, I said this in the last story. If you want to see why the government in America wants to ban TikTok, they want to have this kind of control. Go to other apps, search France. Go to TikTok, go to Instagram, go to Facebook, search France. See what it tells you. See what it shows, which is not what's going on. Then go over to TikTok and type in France, and you will see exactly what's going on in France, right? They're already doing it. That's why they're clearly targeting an app that allows people to connect in a way, allows people to organize in a way that they don't want. They want the censorship. Like, one of the most ridiculous features of Instagram is the search. It is impossible. Like, me trying to find stories on a weekly basis that I just don't casually come across in my feed as I'm putting this show together, and I have to search for. It is painful to try and search for anything on Instagram. And I think that's done by design. I don't think they care about it's such a garbage app. So what I've seen, and this should be like, this is like people on both sides, right? Nobody wants, especially if you're a right-wing person, do you want people like Biden to have this kind of control, right? Like, he could shut down True Social and Parler and all the right-wing apps if he wanted to. I don't think he would. He likes a lot of conservatives. He is about as conservative as you can get without being extreme right-wing, right, fascist like most Republicans are these days. But of course you wouldn't want him having this kind of control, and I think that's one of the reasons why you see Republican senators and Tucker Carlson speaking out against this. But if you're on the left, you absolutely don't want somebody like DeSantis or Trump having this kind of power. Nobody should have this kind of power. Whether they have control or not, it should be 100% transparent with the American public. The public should have a say, which this eliminates any kind of say. It eliminates any kind of oversight from the public. It eliminates any kind of, like, input or knowledge from anybody that actually lives in this country. So what I've heard and would recommend for everybody to do, there are many sources where you can find the politicians that are pushing this bill, to call them, to email them, to write them letters and tell them, not only do you not want this to be passed because it is such a violation of human rights in this country, but also that you will actively vote for and promote and push whoever runs against them in an upcoming election. In the next primary, you are going to see who is opposed to them, and you will do everything to promote them to make sure that they never work in politics again. You have to threaten their job by saying that you will help promote anybody that runs against them in the next primary. And that is the thing that politicians will be scared of, because they don't want to have to worry about a primary election, because usually they don't have to do anything for those. They don't want to have to worry about somebody running against them. And if everybody goes and tells them that they're going to have to worry if this is what they're going to support. But not only that, need to keep our eyes open, because the last time they passed this bullshit with the Patriot Act is because 9/11 happened. Whether you think it was an inside job or whether you think the presidency of Bush allowed it to happen because they knew they wanted to pass these things and it was a great opportunity for them, or it was legitimate, everything they said, regardless, when that happened, they used that as an opportunity to remove massive amounts of rights and to spy on all Americans. So we need to make sure, keep an eye out, whether they try and push this through if a massive tragedy happens, or if they just try to rewrite it and push it in. Because they're trying to sell this as a TikTok ban, and it's far more than a TikTok ban. Like, I don't even think ByteDance or TikTok are actually mentioned in the bill. But that's what they're labeling it as, because they got enough people scared thinking that kids were in harm. Which is like, kids are on Facebook, kids are on Instagram, TikTok's not the thing. TikTok's not the thing. And it's not the government's job to parent your kids, right? If you don't want your kids on social media, be a parent. Don't make it a law. Like all of these places making it laws so parents don't have to do their job is absolutely absurd. So we need to make sure that they don't pass this shit under a different, they're not going to rebrand it, repackage it, and pass it in some other way. Because they want this bad. They want it bad.
New episodes of The Ray Taylor Show come out every single day. Subscribe on YouTube and everywhere our podcasts are found. Binge the full week over at inspireddisorder.com/plus. Buy Ray Taylor Show merch over at inspireddisorder.com. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Peace out!
Today is the day where you wake up and you realize that everything that you've been dreaming about, everything that you've been wanting, every goal and wish and hope that you've ever had can become real. Dreams can come true. What you manifest in your mind, you can bring to reality.